Hello and welcome to the Restoration Shack. My name is Mark, if you've not joined me before. Currently working on this winter project of mine, which is a 1956 Oval Beetle. If you've not seen the progress before, I'll put a link up there on screen so you can see when we got it delivered. We did a bit of tune-up work on it. So in this episode I'm going to start doing a bit of work internally in it, just sort of looking at the floors, etc. So I've got my tools out ready. I'll just try and get us a light, just give me a second. Something that's going to come up in another episode where I'm going to actually change the workshop lighting and make it a bit better, but hopefully you can see in there the floors look okay. I'm going to basically let this seat out, this passenger seat, got the tools in there ready to start scraping, and I've got a bristle brush. I'm going to try and get rid of any loose paint. I've not done anything over the other side yet, but like I say, we'll get this seat out and then we'll take a look at the condition. So seats out. Overall, I just have to excuse my, in fact I'll actually isolate it. So basically I threw a battery in to start it and some jump leads until I make the new cables up, and that was just if I want to run it or move it about in the garage. So looking at this, it's got Porsche, I don't know if it's a 924 or 944 seats, so it's had a frame rail sort of made up. The more astute of you will notice this hump just here. This is on a later pan, so they are for the later seats, so I'm yet to decide what to do. I have got a set of seats, just give me a sec, just up there in the rafters, which I might use and recover, but I do quite like these tombstone seats. Sorry for the poor lighting in here, I have to get that sorted. So I might keep the tombstones. So what I'm looking at basically today is the overall condition of the floor. Some surface rust. We've had a bit of water that must have come down. You can see on the bulkhead it's run down, but there's no holes, it's just basically surface rust on there. Same around here, it's all kind of just layers and layers of old paint. There's no real, like I say, once again there's a bit of water because it was sat here with the windows. Before I got it, it was sat with the windows down, so all the carpets and that was saturated. Same again here. It's just kind of where water's been pooled in the underlay and that sort of made it wet. Going back through here, we've got some remnants of what looked like tar mat there. Now I did poke about and I have actually managed to make a hole in the floor, which it's great, but it does need sorting, so I'd rather find the hole and just kind of weld that up. It is pretty solid around it, it's just that's on this side the only area. I think looks like we might have got a little bit, just on that edge there, bear with me. Let's see if we can get some light, get to it. Yeah, we've got a little hole there as well. It's not showing it very clear on camera, see if I can get a better light on it. It's showing up as, yeah, that black there, that's another hole there, just on the seam. We've got a couple of patches to make, but nothing serious. I would have been more concerned if we'd have got big holes in the floor. It looks like we've had plates welded on. There's been a plate welded there before, but you know, overall fairly good. The fronts are solid, they're not dropping through. So I can deal with the small patches that need doing. Like I say, the other side, it's also had a lot of water sat on it. Again, surface rust. There's no holes that I can see here. It's solid under that seam as well. So happy with that. Don't know, a bit of paperwork under there. We'll have a look. But yeah, that needs scraping off and then wire brushing back. So I think what I'll do is I'll try and set you up on a stand. It's not really going to be entertaining, so I'll probably do it at high speed, but I'm just going to basically start getting this back, because what I'm going to do is then use some sort of underseal, or I've got sound deadener, so I might actually paint it and then put these sound deadening sheets in. If you've not seen those before, just give me a second. So this is one of them. I've got a roller. I think I've ordered at the minute, I ordered a pack of 30. So basically it's self-adhesive on the back, like a tar, and it has a foil on it as well. It's quite pliable, you can bend it, probably need to warm it a little. But basically once I've painted in here, I'll just start laying those down, and it's basically like a noise reduction. I'm also going to do the roof as well. Once again, apologies for the light, but I'm going to do the roof so then it kind of quiets it all down when you're driving, and also at the back in the internally on the engine bay. But you can kind of get the idea. You sort of lay them down, you can cut them and just lay them in. But I'm going to basically prep the surface first and then paint it, and then I'll lay those on. So alright, let's get started. So first off, what I'm going to do is I've got a Stanley blade scraper. So basically you can just put new blades in that, just make sure you can see what I'm looking at. Yep, you can see what I'm doing. So basically Stanley blades in, and you just kind of run it over, and it basically scrapes off any of the old paint. So what I'll do is, like I say, I think it's going to get quite noisy, especially when I'm scraping them when I've got the wire wheel on. So what I'll do is I'll just record it, and then it'll be no talking, high speed, just to while you see me do this section, and then you can just sort of see the progress. I'll get rid of the kind of crust because we've got a bit of crust in there as well, but nothing's gone through. Just little bits of underlay and rubbish in there. So yeah, I'll get started and you can just watch. So we've scraped, and as you can see, try not to slurp too much dust. Got quite a load of paint and stuff off. So what I'm going to do is hoover that out, and then get the wire brush on the drill, and then just kind of get the rest of it off. What I'm trying to do is get the worst off, or the loose off. I'm not trying to get it back to bare metal as such. I just want to get rid of any loose crusty stuff like that. So you can see, just want to get all that out. So we've got something decent for the paint to bond to when I put it on, the underseal paint. So yeah, I'll get that hoovered out, and then we'll carry on. So the next thing I'm going to do is I've got a wire wheel or brass wheel on a drill. I'm just basically going to try and just get rid of, smooth this off a little bit. So hopefully you can sort of see that's a before. We've got a lot of kind of crispy paint and that sort of stuff, which it just shells off. And then on this side, I don't know if it shows up, but you've actually got bare metal as well. But I've took all the loose off. I'm going to take that clutch, I think that's a clutch pedal, clutch cable cover off, so I can get underneath there and sort that out. But overall, yeah, it probably doesn't show up much, but there is actually quite a lot of bare metal. This sort of shiny isn't the paint. There's still residue of paint on the tops here, but that's solid on. But it's actually pretty good, and I can now see the condition of the floor, and it's pretty good. It bounced a lot because there's some pins just down here which I kept hitting the drill on. But yeah, as you can see, that's probably ready. All that shiny there is bare metal, so that's ready for some sort of like an underseal or Tetrasil paint. It's like I think it's unlike body work paint, like car paint. It's actually kind of slightly rubberized, so it kind of doesn't crack and split and let water in. So I'm basically going to spray all that in all the things, and then the sills I'm going to put underseal in there as well to kind of protect it. There's still a lot of work to do on the sills. I think I might have seen in the last video there's been a lot of welding, so there's still quite a lot of messy welds. I've got a little hole just there, a little pinhole, so I need to clean that out and weld that up. I've still got all the bulkhead to do, clean that off, and then we can paint that as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to carry on. As I say, you've seen me do that section. I'm going to do the same for here and the same back here. So I'm just going to bring it on and just get it all done, and then I'll bring you back, and then you can sort of see before we put the paint down, so I can sort of give you a before and after. And then once again, I'll get that little inspection cover off, and then I can tidy it around there. So yeah, I'll carry on and I'll bring you back in a bit. Okay, so hopefully you can see it's a little bit better now. I've got rid of the loose stuff, cleaned up these plates. I'm going to have to grind these down a little bit because they've been welded and they've been ground a bit, but I like to try and clean them up. And I've also got seam sealer, so I'll probably put some seam sealer around them just to make them look a bit neater. Going to the front, I took I thought it was a clutch cover. It's actually, as you see, every day's a school day, so it's actually linked to the accelerator. So that's the accelerator pedal cable, or the accelerator cable. So it basically comes through the bottom there, links in, and then it's got the accelerator cable on. So that was there's a little plate that goes over the top of that. So I've cleaned under there and got rid of all that. That's pretty good now. So I think what we'll do is I'm going to wipe it down, and then I'm going to get some that underseal coat on here first, just to protect this side. And then what we can do is then we'll get the seat out and we'll start working that way and work our way back towards the car, so that at least the floor's done. Then I can put the sound deadener on when I'm ready, and away we go. And as sometimes happens with me, I get carried away with what I'm doing and forget to check the camera's still rolling and the battery's still charged in it. So we missed a little bit there where I just took a flappy disk just to kind of grind down some of these welds. Hopefully you can see that a bit better. And then I've just thrown a bit of, I've done it over here because that was quite rough, I've thrown a bit of primer on because I'm probably, with it coming up to Christmas, going to be leaving this for a while, so I didn't want to have exposed bare metal. So I've just thrown a bit of primer on, and then I can just grind that off, sand that off when I'm ready. But what I'm going to do down here is I'm going to try and set you up. It's basically, I'm going to put some something called seam sealer. Now, I bought a tin of this, and unfortunately looks like somebody played football with it, so it's kind of mashed and kicked about. But this is auto seam seal. It's what car manufacturers use on the joints. So when you have two panels that are welded together and you've got like a joint, you'll have this, you maybe get rust on them or something, so they put seam sealer on it. So I'm just going to go around all these where it joins the floor pan, just seam sealer that before we stick the paint on, and then the Dynamat or the sound deadening mat. I'm not going to bother doing these with seam sealer yet because I'm going to come back and attack these again, but I just wanted to just see what it looks like with this seam sealer on. So I'll get you set up, we'll just throw some of that on to see what it looks like. So I'm just looking at setting up on, I have like a tripod here with a camera. I'm not going to do much higher because there's a big light on there. So I'm kind of new to this, setting up the cameras and stuff, setting up the angles, making sure you guys get the best view. I'm going to try this. I picked this up a month or two ago and never used it. So basically it's like a, I don't know, just like a holder, camera holder. Put it around my neck, and I'm going to kind of jig this up. You can use it as a desk stand and stuff like that, but it's just like a flexible metal strap with a holder in the bottom. So what I'm going to do is get that mounted, and then basically it's like you'll see what I see a bit better, and then we can at least get down here and have a look at this. So I'll just set it up and we'll see what happens. So that's on. It might be a bit wobbly because it's yeah, so we're going to get a bit of picture shake. So I'll see how we get on and edit it, and then I'm going to basically, it's like a little mini review of this while I'm doing it. So let's get this opened and get some seam sealer on. If it's too shaky, I think I'm going to move to something else. I have like little tripods. So I have these little tripods as well, which you can kind of set up and point down there, so I might jump to that. But I want to try this out. It was quite cheap. Sometimes if it's cheap it's crap, I suppose. But let's give it a go. So this is kind of like a really thick paint. See that? It's quite gloopy and thick. So I'm just going to load my brush up. Put that down there, and then just daub this in, making sure I'm kind of working it into all the cracks that are in there. Should be no gaps into the you know, holes because it's been welded, but I just want to try and make sure I get plenty on. It also kind of just smooths the edges as well, I think. And maybe just okay. That's that bit done. It's maybe not the prettiest, but it's functional, and once it's coated over in black paint, it'll look good. Once I've done this whole side, it's getting a bit late here now, so I'm going to go in and get something to eat and get warmed up. So for you it'll be a couple of seconds, but I'll be back in the morning and we'll carry on again. Carry on and see if we can get some degreaser on this side, get it painted up in black, and we've got this side finished. So yeah, catch you in a sec. Right, so this is ready. Hopefully the heater in the background's not too loud. I've put a bit of thinners on a rag, just going round and getting any loose dust or grease off the parts first, and then we'll start. I'm going to basically paint this bit of floor just to protect it, as we said earlier, and then to kind of move backwards. But as you can see, even though I've got the diesel heater on, it is really cold today, so I might have to keep the heater on throughout just to try and air dry this as well, air dry the paint. So yeah, let's get the I'll show you what we've got. So I'm going with just a metal paint. This one's branded by Hammerite, but there's loads out there. Gone with smooth rather than you can get like a hammered finish. So I'm going to go with that. Put it on, let it dry, and then you saw the metal foil that I got. We'll get some of that on. Let's see if this goes on in this weather. Really should have quite a warm workshop, but yeah, it's, as I said, it's quite cold today, so we'll see what happens. See how well it covers. I'm just going to put a very liberal coat on and see if we need to come back and do a second. So I've got a litre of it. It's quite reasonable. What I have done is I've also got something I think it's called Crust or Crust. That's also made by Hammerite. There are a number of manufacturers out there doing it, but it's like a paint or a liquid that you paint onto rust and it transforms it, does like a molecular change, and turns it into metal, I think, or it just kills the rust that's in it. So I've got some of that coming, and then we can sort of treat any areas, like on this sill where we were going to do a weld. I'll probably treat the sill with it first before I grind it back, and then I can paint on, weld in that little hole. So I think what I'll do is I'll just crack on with this. I'll speed it up for you so you don't have to sit and watch me paint, but I'll sort of be quiet now and just crack on. So hopefully, it's difficult to see it, but you can see a bit of a transition between what's not done there, down where the tripod leg is, and then the floor that is done. So I've gone back as far as where you saw me doing the seam sealer on that plate. So that's all protected. It does get quite difficult to see in the corner there, but trust me, it's done. Can't really get much light into there, but you can just see the accelerator pedal, and then I've done all the floor. I've not gone up on this nose section here yet, because I do need to look at what's happening here. So I don't know if you can see, just there, and across here, it's actually rust, like watermarks. So obviously somewhere there's been water has got in the past, so I just need to look at that. because then eventually what my plan is to probably paint that that bridge cone there, and then do up the sides here. Now whether I do them in Hammerite, it has got some really rough paint on it at the minute, and there's dirt and grime ground into it. Whether I try and flatten that back and Hammerite it, or try and you know, paint it just with a flat black or a semi-gloss black or something, I don't know yet. Not got that far. There's still some welds to grind down around there as well, and I'm going to start doing the repair work down here. But for now, I'm just going to let this floor dry. Once again, sorry you can't see it very well. I'm going to let this floor dry, and then I'll bring you back. What I want to do is get this side done first, so at least I've got a clean area. Then I can try and transfer everything onto this side, and then when I finish working on the other sides, I can just kind of basically wipe this down, hoover it up, and then you know, to get the whole pan done. I'm not going to touch anything in the back yet. I'll probably start doing the other side of the pan, then come down and work on this weld, and as I go around, basically just chalk out any areas that need some welds on it. So I think I'm going to have a think what to do next. Yeah, so I'm just going to take a quick coffee break, have a quick think what to get on the video next, then I'll bring you back. So at the minute, you might be able to see I'm kind of struggling with space. I've got one of the seats, the front seat there, I've got a bike that's a bit sold, that's ready to ship. This one I've got a wrap, this is ready to ship as well. But then as we go round, I've got one of the project builds that you've seen one of the parts of, the sort of crap that I've got to get rid of. Then parts for the Beetle, one of my patrol buses, an engine stand here, which is for that, and then my tool cart. So at the minute it's very difficult to even move around in here, let alone work on things. So I'm trying to you know, I've got a lot of jobs to do on this vehicle, on the Beetle, but trying to actually start something, you know, try and get it in the air and work around it at the minute is quite difficult, just with all the rubbish that's in the workshop. So what I have done is I've actually ordered a tool, which it's just after Christmas now, so should arrive in the new year, and it's actually to remove these hinges. It's like a hinge pin tool. Now I've seen online quite a few, but they get really bad reviews. They don't necessarily work very well, because once these hinges are in, they tend to snap some of the hinge removal tools. But I found one, I think it's from Lucky 7, a Lucky 7 garage here in the UK, and there's a couple of YouTube videos. I'll try and put the link below to their site. I've not got any affiliation with them, just I've seen a few people using this tool and they've had really good results. You kind of bolt it onto the over the pin, and then it kind of pushes the pins out from the bottom. So I'm going to spray a bit of penetrating oil on these at the top and bottom, because this one looks like someone's already tried to tap it with some sort of bolt, and that's sheared, so that's going to be quite a pain. But I want to get this one out, one, to put new pins in to save me having to do it later on, but also I want to put a wing mirror on here so I can see. I've got a set that I've bought ready to go in, so they've got to go in, and the driver's side doors actually dropped a little bit, so I do need to do the driver's side. So I thought, well, while I'm doing one, I'll do them both. I've got some new pins from the States, they've arrived some time ago. So yeah, I'm scratching my head as to what to start doing, because a lot of it, like I say, I'm just stuck for space at the minute. So I think what I'm going to do is just try and get some tools and stuff put away, tidy up, and then we'll make a start on some of the bigger jobs.